Good afternoon. Today I want to talk about how we reverse engineer electricity bills. So we're just going to log in here, and I essentially take the ESB kind of monthly MRSO data going back years, and from that I can kind of work out kind of what the profile is. That is kind of how much kind of electricity you use in each hour and each day over the whole year. So then that kind of allows me then to say, all right, there's this many units in the day, this many in the weekend, this many in the evening peak, etc. I then kind of multiply that out by the cost per hour for electricity, which is the day ahead market, which has a different price every year. And in this case, the 801,000 units here gives a cost of 138,000. And associated with that is this markup, which then gives a kind of a total here of 146,000, which is kind of the energy only price. This is what the power station, the power station will get this price here. The supplier will get this price, and then your transmission user system, your transmission operator will get this amount, etc. So anyway, the different charges here: transmission, distribution, market operator, and then you get your public service liability and your tax. So that all adds up then to 213,000 euros at an average unit cost of 26.59. So if we go down to the end, we can actually have a look at those, and they're there for each month. Now the price of gas and the price of electricity is very, very closely correlated. So this allows us basically to say, okay, the gas curve for next month is, okay, it's April, is 99.96. So then that allows us then to kind of work out that the average electricity price should be 122.43. Again, this is a kind of a calculation. It's a kind of an equation that we've worked out based on our experience. We've also got something here that the site here also allows us to kind of compare kind of a fixed type contract to kind of like, which is known as a Heron contract, where the price of electricity tracks the price of gas. So that gas curve is slightly different to ours, so we can actually see if there's kind of value in the market or not. In this case, when this particular offer came in for a different customer, it came in when the March price was 125.75. Today it's 103.04. So the delta times that times the gas sensitivity means that there's a kind of a downward pressure on the price of 1.9 cents a kilowatt hour, which brings our baseline price of 17 down to 15.11. So we can now compare the price of the counterfactual between, okay, what we think the price of electricity will kind of come in at, which would be 118, and what the price will come in at if we actually kind of signed on for a Heron type contract, even though it's floating at 121. So we can then compare every single month. Now we have the option of actually pulling the trigger and actually locking these prices in. So we can lock that price in for this particular month there at 15.28. Again, energy only, and we don't have, that doesn't include the rest of the costs. And then we kind of come down to the bottom where we compare each month. So we can compare March 25, 185. Just kind of that's a day ahead market, and then we can compare it. Okay, if we did a Heron gas contract at today's kind of gas curve, that's what we get, and the delta between them be 3,801. So that all works out there. So that every month is kind of basically calculated out. So then we go on to go to next year, and again we have the same thing for next year. So this allows us to make it kind of an informed decision on whether we kind of lock in the price of electricity. So we have what we predict the day ahead cost of electricity is going to be, which is kind of 20.35 for April next year, and then and what the kind of the herring cost will be, which would be that. So that's the delta between them. So you can decide, essentially my insurance policy against kind of rising gas and electricity costs for next year is going to cost me 110,000 over a total cost of 180,000, 1,878,000 euros. So that just kind of gives you then a sense of what's that, about 5%. So that's going to be your cost of essentially insurance for a fixed electricity cost. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. So until next time.